Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle video tutorial on Photoshop and using the texturizer. But instead of the usual conventional just applying the filter to the standard image, I'm going to be using an Alpha Channel. Now this is in 221, but you can use this in early versions as well. So got an alarm going off somewhere. It's outside in the area, obviously someone's car alarm. No one's gone out to check. As I haven't got a car, I have no idea, can't see anything. So my apologies for any sound going over here. So you've got RGB. And what you can do, you've got channels, and you can find that via a window and channels. There's channels there, and you can go to there and new channel. So what I'm going to do is create a selected areas there, an alpha 1, click OK. Well, with that, what I want to do is I want to copy the original, this design up here into that. So what I'm going to do, edit, and I'm certain that, actually I'm going to do select all first, then edit and copy. And now go to that channel. So that channel, I can deselect that now. I can paste that in. So edit and paste. So you just quickly do that. Now, it always comes up with that selection. It's always a weird feature. I've never understood that selection. No need for it at all. However, once you've got that in there, what you can do, you can apply the texturizer to that. I'm certain there's other ways of actually putting that into there. But this is always the way I've done it. So what you can do, you can always apply it. So filter and filter gallery. And now what I've got is I've got a texture here, load texture. It's just a standard PSD file. You can find lots and lots on the web, thousands of PSD files, displacement maps. Just so search for displacement map or just create your own displace file. Now select obviously texturizer. There's a number of other ones in the filter gallery, but texturizer there. And what you got is scaling, so you can change that. And I'm just going to go with that. It's just a selection of dots. That's all it is. Just a couple of dots. And you get this. Now, this unfortunately, this relief around this edge, you can see the edge there, isn't anything to do with that. It would be nice if it did actually change the colour based on that. That would be super useful. Feature that they haven't added, as far as I'm aware. Someone will turn around and say, yes, it is. It does work that way, but it never seems to for me. So, scaling and relief, and you can of course reduce the relief just so it's very subtle. If you just want a very subtle effect, up to you of course. Top left, top, and all those sort of things, and you can do that. And once you've done that, that's actually the one I always find funny. Invert, just turns it around. Hang on, isn't that the same as just doing? Why introduce an invert? Maybe there's some other feature for that invert. I do not know, but it just seems always weird. There's lots of other controls and features I would love to see added onto this, but not that one. Well, click OK. And what you've got now, you've got the Alpha Channel with that. So what you can do, you can go up to RGB there. Nothing looks changed. Nothing's changed at all. Well, obviously, what you do, go to Select, and you can go to Load Selection. And you've got Alpha Channel here. So Alpha Channel, and it's a new selection. So it's not adding to an existing one. You could have, of course, a selection there already. If you have a selection, then you have to maybe go for the add to selection, or you could subtract from selection. It creates some interesting designs as well. However, click OK, and then you can see now you've got your texturizer effect added here. Now I'm just going to go over to gradient. You don't have to, of course. You use other ones, but you can just do that, and you can see then you can get very quickly a texturizer effect with what I wanted, which would be the colour, and actually creates a nicer one, I think, with the blue and that's using a difference blending mode on there. And you can see got different relief there. And I think that's a much nicer relief than just that really sharp white, personally. But however, I'm not going to use that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go for edit and copy. Now, I know you've got Control C and all those things, but I like to show it from the menu because obviously, just so you can see the steps. Control C is very hard without showing you the keyboard. People have asked me that. Why don't you? Well, I know I can do it with Control C, but it's obviously copy, and I can then let's deselect and edit and paste. Actually, sorry, I've got still got that original effect there. Don't want that. So now I'm just going to quickly go back. What I was going to do, edit and copy, deselect and paste. Now, of course, it doesn't look like anything's changed. Hopefully something has changed. So what you can do, you can go to a layer and layer style, and you've got Bevel Emboss, and then you can see what has changed. You've got this lovely effect here. So you can create some very interesting different textures here. So instead of that, you've got depth. You can just change the depth. So it's a lot more flexibility than the original Texturizer. This is all the functionality I would love to see in the Texturizer. Not certain why it can't be. However, it's not. It's obviously got what it's got. And what you can do, you can go for pillow emboss, and you can create some. Now, the only problem with this always is, of course, it gives that slightly annoying edge effect. That's about the only thing. I don't think there's any real way around that. Maybe a selection. Anyway, obviously maybe something to experiment with. But so it's a pity that you just get that. However, you've got this lovely texture, and you can always chop that bit away. If you don't want that, that's quite often what I do, quickly cheat. Just flatten it, select, get rid of it. Get rid of all that edge. Simple solution. Now what you can do, you can change the angle, and you can move that around, and then you can go there. Oops. And I can just go there, I can go there, and you can see you can create a whole range of different, and also of course you can always edit this glass contour. You've got all these presets, but what you can do, and of course you can change other things as well. You've got linear, dodge, darken, and you can create different ones there, emboss, inner bevel, change that, and so on, so on. Literally an infinite range of different possible textures. And of course, once you've done that, click OK, and obviously I've just gone for one. Now what you can do, of course, is you can flatten it. You can flatten that, perfectly reasonable, and that's it. But, and as I said, what you could do if you wanted to get rid of this edge, simply just use a selection or crop it and just have that. However, I'm not going to do that because the next thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to bring in the selection again. So select load selection, because you don't have to finish just there. What you can do, Alpha 1 again, click OK, bring it back, Control C, Control V, or edit and paste. And again, you've got another layer, so you can see that over here is the layers. What you can do, you can go to layer style, bevel emboss again, and you can see you can add that bevel on top of the previous one. No reason why not. And of course, there's options here. You could have multiple bevels as well here. But, well, fortunately you can't. One thing that I'm surprised they didn't add, you've got other options, stroke, colour overlay, but you can always, like I say, go around this. And also another way of doing it is you can turn it into a smart object, and each smart object can have a separate bevel. That's a quick solution around that unfortunate problem of no little plus sign there. Would be nice. So inner bevel, emboss, and depth. Now, one thing you can't do, of course, is you can't change the actual size. Now, of course, you can, because obviously I'm doing this with this. However, you've still got the alpha channel. So you go back to the alpha channel. You know what? Now, obviously, I haven't got access to the original image. And if I had saved the original image, I could, of course, then use that. But I can still, let's just go with that. You can save, of course, the original image and work with that in maybe a separate file. What you can do, filter and filter gallery. There's the only reason I just suddenly thought about it. You could actually combine these. So you can see what you can do. You can, of course, use scaling, and you can create some other ones, maybe different reliefs. Change that, click OK, and you've got maybe that sort of, and you can apply it again. Go right, and the reason why you can't apply it a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, maybe you can think, you know what, I don't want it like that. I'm just going to go for a little bit of a Gaussian blur. So instead of a really strong blurring effect, I'm just going to go for a slightly blurry effect. And of course, you've always got edit and fade Gaussian blur. You can always go for different options in multiply and so on. So there's a whole range of different other things you can do there. But what you can still do, go back to RGB. You've still got this design. Select, load selection. Then you got obviously that again. Alpha 1, make certain you select that. New selection, click OK. And again, you've got that. Edit and copy, edit and paste. So again, you've got that layer. Well, you can also go, of course, layer and layer style. And instead of bevel, you can go for drop shadow. You can see, which is not so good, but of course, you don't have to use that. You could use another colour. There's a whole range of different things you can do. Don't have to go with just a bevel and emboss. So there's bevel and emboss again. Emboss there, and you can see you can just change this, and you've got a different texture overlaid on top of that. And you can vary these settings again, change there, just go different. So just explore. darken, multiply. There's a whole range of different options here. Lighten, screen, colour dodge, multiply, darken. I love exploring with these combinations, and you can create a whole range of different designs simply by tweaking some of these settings. Maybe go with different colours as well. Maybe go with normal. So you can see a whole range of different designs can be created. And of course, I even started with contours. So you've got contours, you can go there as well, and you can add some contours, which of course you can then tweak to create some really quite sort of unusual texture designs that way. And you of course can change the range, you can tweak those. Sometimes it works. And also anti-aliasing as well. Click OK, and you can see then you've got a slightly more interesting texture than your basic texture that you would get from the texturizer. So the texturizer is a great tool, but it can be extended just by using the Alpha Channel, and also layers and selections, just to create some very interesting sort of beveled designs there and textures. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials all the time about Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, and many other applications. If you've got any questions, maybe I went a little bit too fast in places. Sometimes I suddenly thought of a few things while I was doing it, thought let's explore that. So sometimes I suddenly jump off on that sort of thing. My apologies on that. A dislike or like, always appreciated. Thank you much.